June 2021, MC Toon, the McBooger-eatinest McMoron this side of the McWest. Say goodnight.
That's a little bit of word games. I will not.
All right.
I will not accept that science proves things because scientists will stand up all day long and say, "No, I'm sorry, we don't prove things."
Are you high right now?
Far, far beyond high, love. He's McDunning McKruger, McShroomed. From Lumen Learning, Biology for Majors Forming a Hypothesis. You must be able to test your hypothesis, and it must be possible to prove your hypothesis true. Duh. From Genome Research, 1999, Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory. Students are taught that the proper way to do science is through the following steps. First, devise a hypothesis, and then design experiments that will prove or disprove it. My word. From Anne-Marie Helmenstein, PhD, Biomedical Sciences. Requirements for a testable hypothesis. In order to be considered testable, two criteria must be met. It must be possible to prove the hypothesis is true, and it must be possible to prove the hypothesis is false. Duh. Let's wrap your dumpster fire up with Dr. Craig Venter, the geneticist of geneticists, Celera Genomics, National Institutes of Health. You know, there's some things we can do in science in terms of proving certain things in life we discover.
Fatality.
When McBaltard says scientists will stand up all day long and say they don't prove things, he's quoting pseudoscientists, astronomers, astrophysicists, cosmologists, etc. They say they don't prove things because they need massive latitude. So when their fairy tale stories are inevitably pummeled into the belly-laughing incoherent oblivion, as always, they then can play Texas two-step ad hoc hypothesis shape-shifting hopscotch and wholesale replace their old disheveled horse pucky with the new hotness horseshit story. Then say, science is correcting itself. McBooger Eater, you'd fail. 5th grade, general science.
Excellent, thanks very much. MC Toon.
Yes, well, before Einstein, it was called spooky action at a distance, and that kind of comforts me like a warm blanket.
What the hell did you just say?
The real question here is what's going to comfort others exposed to your inane horse shit, McIdiot. Just tattoo Pretender Clown McDoofus on your forehead and be done with it already. From MIT Technology Review, Einstein's phrase, spooky action at a distance, has become synonymous with one of the most famous episodes in the history of physics, his battle with Bohr in the 1930s over the completeness of quantum mechanics. So, McMoron, you said, before Einstein, it was spooky action at a distance. How can that be when Einstein coined the phrase spooky action at a distance? And what's it? You said before Einstein, it was spooky action at a distance. What's it, McIdiot? Folks, this is merely minor McBooger-eating birth pangs.
Prepare yourself.
The distance to the sun has been measured.
Yes, and Aphrodite was actually Elmer Fudd in drag and was directly responsible for the Tet Offensive.
You don't like it, I don't care. It's been measured.
Feeble appeal to emotion fallacy. From lumenlearning.com. An emotional appeal is a logical fallacy whereby a debater attempts to win an argument by trying to get an emotional reaction from the opponent and audience. And how on earth do you know others' likes and dislikes? You invoking those special Evo mind powers again. Falling back on your true vocation. Carnival. Perhaps you should scurry on back to guessing people's weights and barking for the yak woman. After I'm done with your dumb ass here, the Carnival Tent Clown Show board of directors is going to need a notarized numpty dipshit waiver from you before reinstatement.
So there we go. Here is mc2.net/sun.
So there you go, eh? From McBoogerEater.McMoron/McFraud. I don't think so, Crayon Muncher.
Yes, a gas giant bounces radar.
So the sun's a gas giant. Even in your mindlessly regurgitated second law of thermodynamics violating, preschool basic reasoning defying, fairy tale spinning space monkey, belly laughing dumpster fire, ball hugging religion, the sun's not a gas giant. You uneducated science illiterate McBooger eater. From the Plasma Science and Fusion Center, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT.edu. Plasma is often called the fourth state of matter, along with solid, liquid, and gas. Plasma is superheated matter, so hot that the electrons are ripped away from the atoms, forming an ionized gas. It comprises over 99% of the visible universe. In the night sky, plasma glows in the form of stars, nebulas, and even auroras that sometimes ripple above the north and south poles. That branch of lightning that cracks the sky is plasma. So are the neon signs along our streets. And so is our sun.
Fatality.
The star that makes life on Earth possible. You'd fail third grade Intro to General Science, McFuckwit. And radar doesn't bounce off gases, McClown. If it did, we wouldn't be able to deploy it on Earth. 'Cause, wait for it now, we're surrounded by gases! Next block of instruction, how to observe when looking. By the way, radar bounces radio waves, i.e. reflects light off surfaces. Newsflash, McIdiot. Gases don't have surfaces, much less a reflective surface. Specifically to your belly laugher, from Science Daily, unlike rocky planets, which have a clearly defined difference between atmosphere and surface, gas giants do not have a well-defined surface. If it's not defined, that is, gases don't have a definite shape or volume, you're not bouncing squat off it, window licker. And finally, gases only emit and absorb in bands. That is, emission and absorption line spectra. But the sun itself emits a continuous spectra.
Oh, son of a... That's gonna leave a mark.
From NASA.gov, the spectrum of the sun appears as a continuous spectrum.
You dumbass.
So how can the sun, a gas giant according to you, emit a continuous spectrum when gases only emit and absorb in bands? Por favor.
You're busted.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this. And totally redeem yourself!
I think the sun is a physical object, and I think it is solid enough.
What the hell did you just say?
I think the sun is a physical object, and I think it is solid enough.
Say what?
Yes, a gas giant bounces radar.
How in the world can a
Gas giant
be
solid enough.
you dumbass cracker?
Calling all cars. We have
Numpty dipshit.
all cars, please assist. All cars, please assist.
We haven't even touched on the two skull crushers just yet, and your sun-bounced dreamland parroted fantasy is worse off than the Hindenburg.
Radar is just electromagnetic radiation, right?
Wrong. Radar is light. Light consists of photons. Photons are neither electric or magnetic. You're just mindlessly parroting what you've been told without any due diligence or scrutiny. An incoherent 6-year-old can do your job, clown. This clinical level Dunning-Kruger Numpty dipshit's entire game is find something his wiki Google pseudoscience priest vomit, lap up the surface puke, and mindlessly bagak it. Then, if any of his brain-dead nested listeners don't open up their honey creeper beaks wide to receive a bellyful of his mindlessly regurgitated wiki surface puke putrid cud, he says,
now, if you don't like this, you just go ahead and deny it, and then confirm that you are a uneducated science denier.
That's it. That's all he's got. Here he goes again.
Give me your evidence that you know what the sun is first of all before you... It's physical. It's physical. You want to deny it, you are a science denier. I love it when you confirm that you are a science denier.
Whoa, whoa there, Professor. Can you go a little lighter on the white paper technical language? It's physical. The laymen are having a hard time keeping up. Moreover, McBooger Eater, newsflash, identifying the characteristics of something, that is, answering what is questions, isn't natural science. Natural science only adjudicates predictional suppositions of natural cause and effect relationships. That is, explaining the hows and the whys, not describing the whats and the ises, McMoron. Thanks again for exposing your silly wabbit science wackuman. Again. Everything up to this point is mere bare-bones, basic, fundamental knowledge. And you got all of it. Wrong. Woefully pathetic. If you're part of the McMoron, McFraud, McBooger Eater fan club, I'm deeply sorry for your crushing losses, and think this numpty dipshit of megalithic proportions can recover from the shellacking he's taken thus far, and you gotta be a real dumber than a bag of hammers mouth-breathing knuckle-dragger to even entertain that possibility for a microsecond, then from this point on, I'd turn away. 'Cause it's time to get medieval on McMoron and annihilate this booger-eating ball-tard schmuck permanently.
Anyway, the important thing here is how long it took. That's the critical thing. I pulled it out. Sorry, there it is. There, I pulled the numbers. The first publication says the radar bounce took approximately 1,000 seconds. The second, approximately 16 minutes, or 960 seconds, giving us a mean of 980 seconds, plus or minus 20 seconds. Radar is traveling at the speed of light. The speed of light, we know. We can use the amount of time it took to bounce and the speed of light to get the distance to the sun.
Oh, what do you mean? Oh, wow, man.
You just stepped all in it, Numpty. Just so we're clear, overall, this isn't and has nothing whatsoever to do with natural science. Now, I can pulverize your mindless, unsupported bounce parrot on any number of fronts. Photons traveling through a second law of thermodynamics violating fairy tale vacuum, free space path loss, wave propagation when they're not even waves. But allow me to run home to mama on this one and go outside the box. It was 14 years ago, one of my first presentations. I released it on 3 Christian forums and multiple physics forums. The feedback was profuse laughter, mocking, and ridicule. I said, okay, all right, I'll just wait. 3 months ago, Veritasium essentially streamed my exact presentation. Let's see what he has to say about your "we can tell how far away it is because we can time it" fiasco. Veritasium, if you would, my good sir.
The speed of light is exactly 299,792,458 meters per second. But hear me out. In this video, I will prove to you that light may never actually travel at this speed. And I can say that because no one has actually measured it.
Uh-oh! 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 You want to know what this rate actually is?
A convention. It's known as the Einstein synchronization convention.
It's also a textbook example of
petitio principii, the logical fallacy of begging the question. A particular argument which commits the fallacy of begging the question, a circular argument.
Because you're coming outside the framework of that man-made convention and making claims upon reality. From Albert Einstein, Relativity, the Special and General Theory, authorized translation by R.W. Lawson, 1961, pages 22 and 23. Regarding the speed of light, it would thus appear as though we were moving here in a logical circle. In the same reference regarding the one-way speed of light, Einstein concludes that light requires the same time to traverse the path A to M as for the path B to M is in reality neither a supposition nor a hypothesis about the physical nature of light, but a stipulation which I can make of my own free will in order to arrive at a definition of simultaneity. Ergo, the speed of light, that is the average two-way speed, is merely a convention that we've agreed upon. Therefore, your feeble, fumbling appeal of "we can time it," implying that you can calculate a distance to the sun, is heretofore crushed into the incoherent oblivion. Let's wrap this on up.
Our inability to measure the one-way speed of light.
What you talking about, Willis?
That's what I'm talking about. All your pseudoscientists have is the average two-way speed. But they make like and tell all their parishioners that they know the absolute value of C. They will never, ever validate the one-way speed of light. It's impossible to know. Forever illusory. Which not only reconfirms astronomy, astrophysics, and cosmology, belly laugher pseudosciences, which are based on logical fallacy, but deals a death blow.
Fatality.
To your mindlessly parroted, bumbling, McGoober radar sunbounce. How you like them apples? You nose fruit schnoz particle chef? Even if you did know the one-way speed of light, which you or anyone else never will, you must know the precise makeup of the medium between Earth and the Sun. It's most certainly not a second law of thermodynamics violating fairy tale vacuum, that's for sure. Time to release my wolf pups. It's feast time. You ready for the ringer, numpties? And no, it's not the whites. In fact, it's the black. It is the ringer, a.k.a. the black, a.k.a. my little fret. So radar uses light to reflect off of objects, yes? In this case, the sun, correct? Well, the sun is a black body. Uh-oh! A black body's reflectivity is much like the collective Baltard IQ. 0. So, can you tell us how in the flying Fukuyama can you reflect light off a black body when black bodies don't reflect light? Por favor. Can you riddle us that, crayon munchers? You bumbling, boneheaded Dunning-Kruger bozos take, then run with any and all claims given to you, by your pseudoscience priests at Wiki and Discovery Channel without a whiff of due diligence or scrutiny. Why? I know why. Because you're fanatical religitard zealots that couldn't tell your ass from a pipe wrench. That's why. This tear-jerking belly laugher has no less than 4 paradoxes. 4! I'd bet the farm if your Wiki priest told you were facultative anaerobe woodpeckers, all we'd hear is everywhere we went. Listen up, you woodpecking window lickers. From one of the most prestigious universities in the entire world, Brown University, brown.edu. The sun is a black body.
Oh, yeah.
From Science Direct, section 1.14.4.1, black body radiation. A black body is a body that absorbs all wavelengths of light. No light is reflected. Uh-oh! And therefore, at low temperature, it appears black. Emission from a black body is temperature dependent, and at high temperature, a black body will emit a spectrum of photon energies that span the visible range, and therefore it will appear white. The sun is an example of a high temperature black body. Section 2. Absorptivity. A black body's surface completely absorbs external irradiation.
Fatality.
Regardless of direction and wavelength distribution. Its surface absorptivity is always 1. So alpha wavelength equal alpha equal 1. The reflectivity of a black body is always 0. End of citation. And a belly laugher end to your feebly pathetic, mindlessly parroted dumpster fire of epic proportions. You'd have better luck bouncing a McButtermilk McBisquick McBiscuit off a baboon, McBooger eater.
But here is the publication. You can look at it yourself. You can read all about it yourself. V.R. Eshelman, R.C. Barthy, and P.P. Gallagher.
Say hello to my little friend!
Psst, McBooger eater. You will never, ever recover.
Hey!
Hello. It's for you.
Yeah?
You've just been erased.